You know you can trust me. Because I'm in a funny hat. There's this unspoken rule in life that if you shut up, you'll be safer. Well, although that may be true, we can't live like, we shouldn't do that. It's not good. Not good to do that. Can't do that. Do I have to explain now why that's true now? Because I'd rather not. Seems like I should, though. Making the... you can't see him. And you think will help, even though it won't immediately have evidently show... Or people think that you're making things worse. There's no evidence of you making the world a better place. Why am I here? Enter to win. Ask me how. I didn't make the sticker. I like the sticker. I think it's a good sticker. You don't? You don't think it's I do. Best sticker I've ever wore. Welcome to... It's Bible time. You have to listen to me. It's VidAngel. It's all VidAngel. Netflix. Amazon. Peacock. It's all VidAngel. Available for streaming. Just goes through your streaming device. Just VidAngel. And the chosen interactive live streams till Tuesday, 50% off, free shipping, limited time offer, free. It's the chosen too, and also this guy, I don't know how, but let's get the Bible in now. Let's get to... It's Bible time. Tom Cruise, airplane, probably wasn't even Tom Cruise. Airplanes, they teach people who fly airplanes what to aim at, what to see, where to go, and they give them direction. They don't. You can't tell them what not to hit. This is real airplane pilot. You tell them to look at where they're going, to what they're aiming at. If they divert their attention, they increase the likelihood of a crash. When I heard this, it made me think of the Bible. The Old Testament is predicated upon laws, procedures, ordinances, and human behavior. There was no separation of church and state. Everything that they did was as a collective thing that they did. There was no separation of church and state. So these were people doing life. They weren't only conducting religious practices. How long are you gonna say here, man? It was all aspects of human life. It was government, it was religion, it was their school system, it was their entire human network of potential behaviors from top to bottom. So, naturally, they had laws. Laws established after the escape from tyranny into the desert, cultivating their own society and social habitation. What we currently refer to today as old Testament, Old Covenant. There's this kind of like funny phrase that I hear sometimes. Freedom from sin, not freedom to sin. Well, if we're being technical here, it is actually literally the freedom to sin, being as though whatever example of an ordinance that would have changed from, like pork or whatever, or circumcision. To not be circumcised would be a sin. Now you don't have to. So, freedom to sin, kinda, yeah, actually. I digress. Jesus, the incarnation of the previous modes of being, so the representations, itty sprinkles, the pillars of, like all the guys or all the and women, Ruth and Esther, these in a time to where there was no female representation. Lo and behold, it was the Judeo-Christian Jews. They did it first. Seems like a step towards feminism. Yeah, well, I think women should have been voting. I don't even think they voted. Didn't land the joke, dude. Your joke didn't land. Your joke didn't land, idiot! You having fun? You enjoying this? Jesus, the embodiment of the spirit of that which creates habitable order from God. Godliness embodied, he whom never sinned, depending on who you ask. Anyways, these people group that they begin to structure their way of life, and they create a governmental system that have laws, procedures, ordinances, etc. They have come into that social, governmental, religious, etc., humans being humans. They have the embodiment of that spirit of God come in, get murdered by the goodliness of the church, handed over to the governmental system. Although be it an outside system puppeteering the structure of trial, procedure, etc. All that to say, Christ becomes the embodiment, depending on who you ask, moving through the system of its time, breaking all sorts of rules, depending on who you ask. He touched lepers, etc., etc., all day, every day, all the time. Never sinned, but they murdered him for sinning. So so never sinned, yes, but it's not so simple. It's not so simple to just those poor Pharisees and those poor Sodomites, Sadducees. That human inclination narrative is far more intelligent than just a story about dim Jews. It's not dim Jews, that's us. It's no wonder that anti-Semitism became so prevalent whenever the core element of the fill-in-the-blank word, narrative, whatever, isn't actualized appropriately, being the church of its day and time and governmental system. If it's about dim Jews, well, you shouldn't do that for a multitude of reasons. World War II perhaps being one of them. The first one. So anyways, back to airplanes. You're flying an airplane. Jesus, I was asked. Is everyone having fun? You having fun? I'll be having fun. Everybody doing good? Can I get you anything? I was asked while Bibling, working as Bible man, if I know that I'm saved by Jesus. I couldn't figure out what he was asking me. I literally said, do you mean that if I was in a burning building, I think Jesus would try to save me. He's like, well, do you know that he would? And then I was just like, I don't know. I hope he would. Do I know that I'm saved by Jesus? Do I know what will happen in the court system, in the afterlife, indefinitely, what will happen with my soul? Do I know what will happen in the afterlife in the court? I don't even know what's going to happen in this life with the court system. Okay? So yeah, like faith, hope, all that stuff. Do I know? Oh, bunch of wacky. A better question.
I understand.
A better question would be, do I find the new covenant to be sufficient? All the correct words. Amendment, nullification. Nope, not. Do I find the new covenant to be sufficient completion, fulfillment, whatever the word is when the old thing doesn't because the new thing. All the whatever, the blood, the water, the candles, all the right wordsy words. Do I think that the new covenant sufficiently completes the old covenant? That's a better question. That's a much better question. In which case, yeah, I do. We ain't doing that again. If the old covenant was so great, why do we need a new one? It's so fantastic. Disclaimer. The old covenant got us to where we are. So, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, Bible. Go, Bible. Okay, are we being authentic? Are we being genuine? I think so. As a people, escape from tyranny, into desert, cultivation of divine habitation on earth. That doesn't work for very long. We need Jesus. Jesus comes in, embodiment, gets murdered by the church and the government. Gets murdered by the church and the government. Completing the entire process, yada, 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 yada. Coming to the ultimate conclusion that there are no sets of rules, procedures, ordinances, or laws, or do's or do nots that one can state that will be sufficient for any sort of moral, actual moral behavior. And so what Christ does is that, like flying a plane, he sets in motion a way to be, a way to orient and behave. The ultimate difference being that the prior way of being was a set of procedural laws and do nots. The whole thing. is a system of what not to do. Jesus, oh, I didn't nail it. Man, this thing sucks. It wouldn't work. It stopped. It was not sufficient. It needed an upgrade 2.0. Jesus came for a reason. Part of that reason is that you just can't tell people what to not to do and think that that's morally sufficient. That that's actually, you know, have a government set up laws, follow the law, as if that's good enough. Don't do this, don't do that, whatever, because who cares? It's a rule, don't do it. That's not sufficient. Jesus lays a groundwork with a multitude, basically, the human psyche transitions into a mode of thinking to where it is no longer accepted to obey on that basis, because the sins, laws, ordinance, government, whatever, it's all on fire. The curtain's torn, it's done. It's done. No more. Bada bing, bada boom. Ecclesia, new thing. That's no longer, we're not doing that anymore. No more finger wagging laws. It's a process of embodiment of the golden rule, of enacting and behaving within a system of behavior that orients itself in such a way that it's action-verb oriented. It is not, it cannot be a procedural process of telling people what not to do anymore. It's like flying an airplane, as if the narrative hasn't made it plain enough. The attempt at purity, the attempt at cleanliness, at whatever word. Let's just leave it, those two words. Just leave those. Great. The attempt at religious perfection and the absence of sin, and that is the sin. That gets him killed. That's the ultimate sin, getting Jesus killed. That becomes that psychological state of thinking. It gets exposed, and it becomes evident that that mode of being will no longer be sufficient from here on out, from that point forward. And thus, the narrative continues. Paul comes in and says, quit making out with your stepmom, and some other things. Getting dirty, to summarize, the beauty of the New Testament, the New Covenant, Jesus, is that the elements of such become neutral, in that the price has been paid, in that from henceforth the reality and gravity and actuality of any such things is and is in and of itself, of its own accord, because Christ's payment on the cross. It's a whole bunch of systems, whole bunch of magic stuff that happens. And so from there, an apt example that I can think to give is abortion. Well, I mean, abortion, a baby still dies. And so that's a measurable, you know, that's certainly something. That's certainly a thing, right? So, sure. But things like circumcision, things like pork, things like clothing items, things like not being able to touch your wife while she's on her period. Things like that are nullified, amended, completed, done, finished, over with. You need not pay attention to your status of cleanliness, to uncleanliness. You need not focus on such things as that. You need focus on authenticity, on the golden rule, on loving each other, and all the Jesus things, all that stuff. You need not focus on the what not to do. If it's wrong, you'll know why. It'll be evident why, and you'll be like, wow, that's actually not good. The law of the land is driving. Oh gosh, talk about a can of worms there. Sure, follow the speed limit. Yeah, do that. I can see why a speed limit exists. Thank you, Paul. Good advice. If there is a continuation of focus upon Puritan purity, preservation of, you're gonna miss it. It is what it is. If you get drunk and slap a cop, well, that's not good. If you get drunk and you're dehydrated, that's not good either. Because dehydration's not good. Jesus paid the price. Love each other. And do that well. Do it well. So, 11th commandment. You're flying an airplane. Look at what is good and holy and righteous and awesome and what's the word? True and excellent. Look at that. If you're gonna spend all your time looking at what you're not gonna hit, well, we're all gonna be in a same problem you got us in. Alright, that's it. Hope that helps.
You have to listen to me.